Hi everyone, I'm Mayor Roger Reinert, and we are here for another edition of Welcome to Duluth. So, a reminder, these are conversations with folks in our community that are doing a number of different things. We talk about some core city services, we talk about some of our significant nonprofit organizations in the community. We talk to people who have inspiring individual stories, and then we like to highlight some signature events that also really make up the fabric of what Duluth is all about. And today, I get to talk to somebody who checks a number of those boxes. So, welcome, Nathan Bentley.
Thank you.
I am so thrilled that you are making time out of a busy, busy time of year. I don't know, folks, if you know, there's something called Bentleyville that is in the setup phase, ready to be operational in just a few days phase, and we'll get there. But we're going to talk about some other things first. So, who are you? Like, where did you come from? What is Nathan Bentley's backstory, as the kids like to say?
I was born up in Hibbing, up on the Iron Range.
Okay.
And lived in Grand Rapids for a little bit. My parents got divorced, and my mother followed a gentleman down here to Duluth when I was about 7, 8 years old. So found my way to Hermantown. And then they bought a home in the Central Hillside, and I truly grew up in the Central Hillside, going to Nettleton, Washington Junior, and Duluth Central.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Go Duluth Central. Go Trojans.
Okay, so, all right, go Trojans. And now Hunters. So do you consider yourself a Ranger?
No. No, there's nothing wrong with
We love
love the Range.
Right.
But I left the Iron Range when I was, 6 years old, 7 years old. So I've been down here. I'm a Duluthian.
Okay.
Although most of my adult life I've lived outside of Duluth.
Yeah.
But I work here. I work in Hermantown technically.
Yeah.
But Duluth is my home.
Yeah. And a hillside guy. So also
Central Hillside. Worked at 4th Street Market back in the days when it was open. Delivered newspapers all over the hillside. That was my shoveled snow, mowed lawns in the hillside. That was my thing.
Because I'm West Hillside, so not far away from. We desperately wish the 4th Street Market was open because there's no place to go.
Back when I worked there, that was the heyday. It was busy place. Busy place.
So what took you to successful business person? Would love to get sort of the backstory on where Advantage Emblem came from. How old were you when you thought this is something that I want to do? And what made you think that this is something you would want to do?
At the age of 18 years old, I received a letter from a man in North Bergen, New Jersey. His name was Dan Sleddy, and that was back when there was typewriters, and he wrote me this letter saying that I was on like a get-rich mailing scheme or something. And he wrote me a letter telling me I could make patches or make money selling embroidered patches. And I was 18 years old, and I wrote him back a letter on the typewriter, and he sent me some samples. And I went knocking on the door of the local Boy Scout office back in 1988 when I was 18 years old, and sold them their first I sold my first patch to them for their Klondike Derby, for their January 1989 Klondike Derby. And I sold those patches, and then I went knocking on the Girl Scouts door, and then was knocking on other doors here in Duluth, and my company just kind of gradually went from my bedroom in the hillside to an apartment that I lived in out in Morgan Park, to sharing office space, to having a tiny little office space, to then cutting holes in walls out in Morgan Park and adding employees, and eventually getting into the screen printing business and the embroidery business.
Okay.
And our core business is actually supplying all the embroidered patches to the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scout councils around the United States, as well as the federal government, police departments, fire departments, screen printing, direct embroidery across the country.
Wow.
Most of our business is actually done outside of Minnesota.
Oh, wow.
About 85% is done outside of Minnesota.
Okay. So when you first, so chain letter, that's how all of this began.
Yeah, it pretty much was.
When you first you knocked on a door, now this is, I think, folks, something not everybody is going to do, right? I mean, you have to sort of put yourself out there.
It was risky. I didn't know what I was doing.
Like you take risk on it?
Yeah, you have to take risk when you're in business. Because not every day is a good day.
Right.
With business, you have ups and downs, and over the years, you have ups and downs, and I've certainly had those as well as any other business person. Yeah, but when I knocked on the Boy Scouts door back in 1988, they were just thrilled, thinking that there was a patch salesman right here in Duluth, and they didn't have to mail off to New Jersey or California to get their
Because that's what I was wondering. I'm sure they were doing business with somebody
Oh, yeah,
already.
they were.
And so
Yeah,
now
but
you've
to
got
have somebody right here in
an
Duluth.
18-year-old kid like somehow convince them that you're bringing better value to whatever they might be doing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've noticed, but people don't like change. So
They don't. No, I do know that.
unless you can demonstrate that something's going to be better. So
And then as the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, especially like at Duluth, which is not a large city, a lot of times people like to advance within the scouting, so they'd go to another council, and then I would keep them as a customer because they went to the next council. So over time, the business kind of grew through word of mouth and service and price and everything of that nature. So we are actually which is kind of a strange thing to say, but we are the largest supplier of licensed Girl Scout products in the United States, right here in
wow.
Duluth, supplying all the Girl Scout councils with their patches and their shirts and all their things they need for camp and fundraising and that nature.
at what point in the evolution of the business did, as you talk about that reach, at what point did technology and the internet and being able to, I have to imagine you were doing phones and faxes and then transitioned
in
to
my early days,
and catalogs being mailed.
Yep.
And,
In my early days, I used to actually go over to the local bank, Park State Bank, and actually do my faxing over there.
okay.
Because I didn't have the money to own my own fax machine in the early days. And early days of fax machines, they were very, very expensive.
Yeah. Folks, for the record, that bank is now a home. So, we're dating ourselves a little bit.
Yeah. And actually, there was no internet there, but there was no computers. I hired graphic artists that did everything by hand. And then I remember hiring an employee, still works for me today, 29 years later, suggested that we get this thing called an email address.
Okay.
And I didn't know why we needed this. And he convinced me we needed this. So we got one email address for the company, and it was this long email address, lots of dots and lots of things.
Nathan.Bentley.advantage.
It was this long email. So he convinced me we needed that, and then we started getting, I guess we had computers, but didn't have email addresses at that time or whatever. So over time, all that stuff developed as the internet came possible and emails and everything else.
Have you found that being an early adopter of, you're now doing something that uses a lot of technology, right? From design to distribution to your manufacturing and distributing globally. Have you found in your business model that you're an early adopter of technology, or is it show me the value?
No, I'm all for it. I'm not really a tech person, but people in my office are, so they'll bring me these things to say we need to do this, we should do this, and I'm 100% on board with it.
Okay.
I'm just not the person that's going to read and find out what's the next greatest thing.
You're not TikToking?
I am a TikToker.
Are you really?
I'm a TikTok. Oh, I'm addicted.
All right.
I'm addicted.
Maybe I need to get an account so I can follow Nathan.
No, excuse me. I watch it. I don't make any TikToks.
Okay. All right.
I make 0 TikToks.
Okay.
I just watch them.
Got it. All right.
Yeah, I do.
So you talked a little bit a moment ago about, I think there's a misperception or a common perception with folks that are in business, especially folks that have over the course of their career been successful with their business, that this is always an up and to the right path. And if you're at a point in your career where your business is doing well and you've done well, that's been easy. And you sort of alluded to this, and I know this to be true with others that I know, but that is not typically how it goes. Like there's a lot. Sometimes
even I've been in business now 36 years. There's ups and downs. There's flows. Ups. There's good times and bad times. Right down to COVID 5 years ago, we were literally shut down. When you're not getting people together, they're not having activities, and our whole company is based around people getting together.
Sure.
Whether it was Grandma's Marathon or all the day camps and everything that scouts and everybody does. So during that time period, we actually changed our model and got into PPE products, and we're supplying all the masks and gowns and things around northeastern Minnesota.
Oh, wow.
A lot of places could not get their hands on that stuff, and we had very strong contacts in Southeast Asia, so we were actually importing supplies and supplying all of northeastern Minnesota and Wisconsin with those type of products, and that's what we did to survive.
How quickly were you able to make that pivot?
2-3 days.
Really?
We have very, very strong contacts over there, and it was just literally reaching out to the fire department in Duluth here saying, I heard you can't get masks and stuff.
Right.
They were in my office within an hour or two saying, you can get this stuff? And then we started importing it. We had it within about, I don't know, 5-6 days, the first batch of stuff, and then word spread, and it was just nonstop supplying everywhere.
Wow.
They needed all this stuff, and they couldn't get their hands on it.
You know, at that time, I was deployed in Italy because Italy
Yep.
was the first global hotspot. And I mean, exactly to your point, we were going through dated and surplus inventory that the Navy had to try and get it out to the Italian partners who were trying to, you know, firefighters and police officers and medical staff couldn't stay home. They
Right.
needed to, put themselves in danger in order to try and care for others. And so even, expired material was welcome because it was better than nothing at all. So to be able to quickly find that not only help keep your business afloat, pay employees, but also
Right.
meet a critical community need.
Yeah.
So, and so were you excited then when you were able to sort of come back to
It was.
your
Always-
traditional business?
It was. Our company certainly took advantage of some of the government money to bring employees back.
Oh, sure.
So when we were able to do that, that helped get us back on our feet. But it took time. And even 5 years later, numbers really aren't fully there.
Oh, interesting.
Just different, people are doing different things. We just don't see the numbers in all the organizations that we used to see.
Well, and doing things differently, right? I mean,
Right.
as we as a city think about the next chapter of downtown's future, that's something that we just have to account for. It's never going to be what it was. There's a portion of hybrid, there's a portion of remote. There's some percentage of not getting together that is now happening, or it's happening somewhere else in a different way. So, but as I suspect is true for you in business, you're just maybe able to move faster than government is. What opportunities does that present? For us in downtown, it presents a housing opportunity,
Right.
which we desperately need to do. Have you seen new opportunities, or what new opportunities are you thinking of on the business side that are showing up that maybe wouldn't have been part of your business before COVID?
I don't actually know if there's anything specific that's given us new opportunity. It's mainly just trying to keep the existing customers that we do have, and work with those people to get our numbers back up to where they were at. Yeah.
So starting from your bedroom to now, how has Advantage grown? Where do you sit now in terms of employees and revenue and things like that?
Well, we have approximately 36 full-time people, and we're about an $8 million company.
Wow.
So we started from zero
Yeah.
at one point, with lots of peaks and valleys and
Yeah.
stuff over time. But we're an $8 million company right up there in Hermantown, right across from Costco.
Yeah.
We do screen printing, direct embroidery, banners, corporate awards, and a few other things that people are looking for here and there. So
I feel like if you want something on something, Advantage can do it.
we do it, and we do all that stuff right in.
That might be your new tagline. If you want something on something, I won't even charge you for it.
Oh,
so.
I was going to say, are you going to be getting a finder's fee or?
And before we leave this topic, I know Mike Latica is out there watching. Nathan was in Morgan Park with the business
I was
at
in
the
Morgan
time,
Park
so.
for 18 years.
Yeah. Where was the location?
Actually, in the strip mall out there.
Oh, yeah.
When I was 18 years old, the church right when you go into Morgan Park
Yep.
is not Saint, but United Protestant
Right.
Church. They were looking for a janitor, and they had a house. The bottom floor was the Sunday school building, and then they had an apartment upstairs. So I applied for the job, got it, and I had free place to live as the janitor of the church, and then I got paid extra when there was funerals and weddings there. Otherwise, I had a free place to live, running my little company out of my walk-in closet in my living room,
Oh my gosh.
and
Okay.
that's how it started.
Bob Berg, are you hearing this? Like, here's another piece of Morgan Park history that needs to be told.
Yeah, we
So-
were in that strip mall. I rented
Sure.
a tiny little space, and then as the company grew, I'd cut a hole in another wall,
Right.
another wall. Once we took over the first floor, then we went to the basement, and then we took out a couple of apartments that were in the back, and then we took out the dentist office, and then we were out of space,
Yeah.
and that's when we started looking for
Did you
another
build
building.
new at your current location then?
No, that used to actually be called Heddenberg Construction, which was a
Oh,
very
yeah.
large construction
Yeah.
company back in the day here in Duluth. They built such things as Miller Juan Hospital. They built schools. I know they built the Copper Top Church.
Yeah.
And when he had retired, he was renting that building out, and it was a location, one of the locations we looked at, and it was the right fit for us. Within about 2 years of owning the building, it was a little small still for us. We added on to that building,
Okay.
and now we have about 45,000 square feet there.
Wow. So again, folks, right across from Costco. So if you need something on something, this is
Yeah,
where
we
to go.
appreciate that.
So one of the things that, having gotten to know you a little personally that I don't know that everybody would know is you actually spend a ton of time traveling. And you travel to
Extensive.
some really interesting places. So like what is that all about?
Originally, for business purposes, I was going over to China quite frequently. And I thought, since I was in China, I should visit the next country next door and another country. And I was always over
While
there.
I'm here.
Well, I mean, if you're going to spend 21 hours to get there,
Yeah,
you
right.
might as well visit some other countries. So that's really how my international travel started. And now, as of this past summer, I've been to 71 countries around the world.
Wow.
And over 500 cities. Most of my time has been spent in very poor countries. I spent many years, a lot of time in the country of Laos, which is a landlocked country right around Thailand. You've got China, Vietnam, Cambodia as neighboring countries. And I started renovating schools over there, where I would go into the very poor villages and offer the services of providing the materials if the people in the village were willing to do the work. I would never leave money. I would never leave any supplies. They had to shut down the school while I was there if they wanted to have new roofs, doors, electricity put in, or a well put in, because they had to do it while I was there.
So you knew it was getting done, right?
Right, and that the materials were being used for that purpose.
Sure.
So I have 8 schools over there that I've renovated, toilet buildings, hand washing stations, a few roads, a couple of village offices, and that was my passion for a number of years of spending a lot of time there in the country of Laos.
So I think if most people are honest, one, they don't travel at all. And if they do, they go to like the tourist spot, in a place. So not only are you traveling to 71
different countries.
you're not going to tourist spots.
I just came back from Ukraine, actually. I was there in July.
Oh, yeah. You're going to places that many people wouldn't go to.
They wouldn't go to.
I mean, for you as an individual, where's that motivation? And then the motivation to do something like worthwhile, while you're there.
I just find it so, I don't know if the word is fun or just appreciative that our money goes so much farther in other places. I'm not a rich person by any means, but I have some means, and those means allow me to do things in other countries because the money goes so much further, so much further. And it's so much fun to give back to people and surprise people by being able to help them. Recently, in the last couple of years, I've spent a lot of time down in Colombia, helping people that are escaping from Venezuela, coming into Colombia. And some people just need a little bit of help to get some clothes so they can go to a job interview. Or they want to send their student or their child to school, but they don't have the $12 to buy a school uniform. Or they could really use some extra formula right now.
Money going a long way. $12 for a school uniform.
That's what I'm talking about.
$200 here,
people will
right?
think, oh, he's renovating all these schools. I can renovate an entire school for $15,000. And $15,000 is still a lot of money.
Yeah.
But what can you buy here in Minnesota, in the United States, for $15,000 when you're talking about a school?
Yeah, you're not renovating a school.
No, you're not renovating a school. You're buying a door.
Right, right.
Putting a well in here I think drilling a well is probably, I don't know, $15,000.
Yeah.
I can build or have a well drilled over there for $1,000.
And provide clean drinking water.
Exactly. So there's a big maybe disconnect between people thinking that you're not building Duluth East High School.
Yeah.
These are very simple buildings. There was one school that did not even have electricity, and I offered them electricity to put in, and they were very concerned about how they were going to pay for the electricity once I left, even if that electricity was put in.
Yeah.
So the consensus was that we were going to put one fan and one light in each classroom. And it maybe had 7 classrooms because they were concerned how they were going to actually pay for that. This is how poor of countries we're talking about. Yeah.
So, I mean, I can appreciate that once you're doing a project that is rewarding intrinsically. But what took you to the first one, right? I mean, the first one is the big leap, and then you're like, oh, this is. I can see the impact. I can feel the gratitude. I can see that our resources in America can go even further somewhere else. But
Actually, I think when I started really helping people, I was riding a four-wheeler or an ATV in Cambodia through the rice fields, and I had some candy in my pocket, and kids were coming around, and then there was like a little makeshift market or something, and so I bought some bags of candy just to give these kids. They were so excited about this candy, just so simple, that I went back and I had bags made up with toothbrushes and toothpaste and a notebook and pencils, and I purposely went out and was just giving it to kids. And it was just so gratifying that these kids were so excited just to get a little notebook and a pen or a pencil and a little toy. And that's really how the whole idea of giving to people in need in foreign countries began. And then all my school projects started because I was out giving out bags in Laos. And I ran across a school teacher who brought me back to his school. And that's how I learned about these school needs.
So how do you pick projects now? How do you pick countries and projects? And
I literally have a map in my home office at my home. It's a magnetic with little dots, and I just think, what countries haven't I been to? I don't put a lot of thought into where I'm going, when I'm going. It's just a matter
Everybody watching just got anxious.
I don't want it to sound arrogant, but I have my life is a little bit flexible, so it literally could be Saturday night, and I'll say, I'm going to go down to South America tomorrow. I'll send a text over to my office manager, and I'll say, I'm going to be gone.
For a couple.
But with technology, I can run my responsibilities off my laptop and off my phone.
Yeah.
And my staff at my company is fantastic.
Yeah.
Many have been with me 20 plus years. They know what I'm going to say if they have a question, or they'll just send a text, they'll send an email, call me. It's okay.
Well, that's kudos to you for building a good team. That's what that's what leaders do. They build good teams. Like I like to say, your role as a leader is identify the talent, set collective goals, make sure they have the resources, remove obstacles, and then get out of their way. Like, let them do their thing.
They do, and they've been with me. I do not turn employees. My employees have been with me many, many, many years. It's how you treat people. Yeah. And I pay a lot of attention to how I'm treated and how other people how I treat people.
So you say, today I'm going to head to a country wherever on Monday, but then what? Like, how do you decide? Like, do you have existing connections?
I wing it.
You show up and you're like, I need a school that I want to work on.
Like when I was down in Colombia, I'm just walking down the street, and there's so many needs out there, and I'll approach somebody using my phone because I can't speak Spanish. And they're all a little hesitant, but I'll say, you want to go into the grocery store and let's get you some groceries. And then it will escalate into, we'll get you some shoes. One of my first trips down to Colombia was seeing two kids. Their shoes were all ripped up, and I could tell they needed some food. So I fed them, brought them to a little hot dog stand or something. And then I offered them some shoes, and then I offered them to get them some clothes and stuff. And then talking to the father, I found out that he was actually a refugee from Venezuela, and he was traveling with other people. And I said, well, where are they? Well, it turned into actually 14 more people.
Oh, wow.
So it was spending a few days helping these people. Like I said, just get over the hump. Just a little bit. And I can't stress enough times saying our money goes a long, long ways. It really, really does.
So you get to mix both some of your personal interests and passions along with actually making a difference. Instead of tourism being transactional, like both giving and getting. So, yeah,
absolutely right.
So what's next on the travel agenda?
I usually, after the light show is wrapped up at Bayfront, end of January, usually February, March, I try to head back out again. And I honestly haven't put a lot of thought into where I'm going to go. I love Southeast Asia. I love Cambodia over there. I was just there. I was in Poland and then went over to Ukraine for 2 weeks and just traveled around Ukraine. And then it was down to Cambodia and the Philippines. But it's just take a look at what I haven't been in. Is there a neighboring country I want to go to, or a place I like to go, and I haven't been to their neighbors yet?
Well, before we move to the next topic, I think many of us, myself included, tell us about Ukraine. I mean, obviously, a country that's had a war going on for 3 years. We hear a lot about it in the news. There was just news again last night about another missile and
that was very
drone
hit,
attack.
some 30-some buildings.
Yeah, I mean, what was your? I'm guessing probably nobody watching has been there, and you have. So what were your impressions?
When I first decided I was going to go there, I honestly did not tell anyone that I was going there, just because I knew I was going to go there, but I didn't want people being concerned that I was going to be there.
Sure. It's going to Ukraine, folks.
And one of my challenges actually right off the bat was how was I going to travel around Ukraine? So trying to find a rental car that would allow me to go into Ukraine was my very first challenge, because rental cars are not going to go into Ukraine. I was in Poland a year ago and I wanted to drive into Ukraine, and I was told right off the bat, you cannot bring your rental car into Ukraine, and you can't bring it to some other neighboring countries. So I took a lot of research to actually find a company. Once I flew into Warsaw, Poland, I then flew down to a city called Krakow, and that was the only city that had a rental car company that would allow me to take the car into Ukraine.
Okay.
So I rented the car, and then I drove into, I can't say the name properly, but it's Lviv, L-V-I-V, and that was the first major city, and I spent a few days there. It's on the western side of the country, and honestly, that part where I was at, you wouldn't have known there was a war going on, other than all the memorials. The memorials in all the towns that I went to, you can be as hardcore as you want. Once you would see these hundreds or thousands of memorials, banners of people, of men's faces and women that lost their lives, you choke up, you tear up, you just cannot believe the hundreds and thousands of people that have lost their lives. In every single town I visited, they had memorials set up.
Wow.
And it wasn't just flowers, it was literally seeing the people and gave a little bio of who these people were. And it was tough. And I just went from one town to the next over 2 weeks, and just really exploring the western half and into the kind of the center part of Ukraine.
Okay. Were you able to make it to Kyiv?
I chose not to at that
Okay.
time. There was a lot of bombing going on at that time.
Okay.
I downloaded an app on my phone, so I had all the air raid notifications.
Oh, wow.
And it would pop up where the air raids were and stuff like
Okay.
that. So I tried to prepare myself a little bit before I went to Ukraine.
Okay. How did the Ukrainian people seem to be?
In the western half of the country, they didn't seem to even know there was a war going on, so to speak.
Interesting.
The alarms were constantly going off, and people were just living their lives because the air raid sirens are going off so often that I'm sure they just became
just
numb
tuned
to
it
it.
out,
They
sure.
just, they just did.
Yeah.
But you got to other parts, more in the center. I didn't see damage, but they were a little bit more subdued
Interesting.
about what was going on.
Okay.
I don't speak Ukrainian either, so
Yeah.
100% of my travels when I'm in South America or specifically Ukraine, it's my phone doing every
Interesting.
translation.
And that works pretty well?
It does. Like I said, I have to use it for everything.
Okay.
Either that or I'm starving.
Yeah.
Even on the menus, you have to pull up your phone and scan it so you can read what it says. I mean, there's pictures, but
Yeah. My first problem is I don't. I need glasses now, and I don't use them, so I can't even let alone see what it is. So I'd have to be like, hey, what is this? And then use my phone to try and figure out what I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
So, well, you kind of teed up, I think, the third part of our conversation this morning. Again, folks, I don't know if you've heard of something called Bentleyville. It's a thing, and. You talked about, as you were talking, the story of giving kids candy and seeing that the joy that brought made me wonder, what is the inception of Bentleyville? I can remember driving out to your home,
Still live there today.
I still remember friends were like, hey, there's this Christmas display out in the township. It's at this guy's house. And I'm like, what? Like, what? Okay, fine. And what I think is really neat is some of the aspects of that are a part of now the Bayfront Bentleyville.
100%.
Like,
100%.
where did this come from?
I lived in Esco, right on the frontage road on Highway 61, and in 2001, 2002, I was putting a lot of lights up. Just my obsession, or my personality is bigger. Bigger is always better. It just is. That's right or wrong, that's my perception.
All right.
And by the third year I was doing that, one of my employees, who's literally still with me today after 29 years, she started facetiously and jabbing at me, calling it Bentleyville, and she wasn't really being nice about it.
Okay.
She just thought I was getting carried away.
Yeah.
And that was after Whoville. So we do banners at my office, so I walked into the art department and I said, let's put this on a banner. I'm going to string it across my driveway. I'll show her. And they did it, and I said, I need a Santa Claus. And they did a Santa Claus first, and I said, I want that Santa Claus face, like when I was a kid, I would color in the coloring books. I wanted a jolly Santa Claus, so that face got put on there. on the name, and then it turned into, well, how does anybody know what Bentleyville means? So that's when we added Tour of Lights on the first banner.
Okay.
So it was strung across my driveway in Esco, Bentleyville Tour of Lights.
Okay.
And not on purpose, it was more of a, I don't know, getting back, I'm going to put this name on my light show then.
Yeah.
Or I shouldn't say light show, it was my house at that time.
Right.
And then a year later, with my family growing, we decided we needed a bigger home, so we moved outside of Cloquet
Okay.
into Solway Township. And people asked, are you going to still do your lights? And we said, yeah, I think so. So, because I do live so far out, I wanted to make sure it justified people driving that far out there. So the entry of my house, I had a 78-foot long by 24-foot high castle entrance.
I remember this.
And I had a number of friends and some people that worked for me, and they would come out to my home on Saturday and Sundays and help me put up all these lights. And throughout each day, we would have what was called the big idea. Somebody would say, you know, we should start collecting food and toys this year. Yeah, let's do that. So it was just people throwing out ideas. We should have jackets. Okay, let's get some jackets. Somebody would say, like, look, why don't we do popcorn? Okay, let's do popcorn. So these things weren't necessarily my personal ideas. It's friends were saying, let's do this, let's do that. So we just added that very first year out there, and then for the next 3 years we were there, adding what we called the big idea that year.
Yeah. How long were you? Because that would be that's the location I remember.
Yep, we were there 2004, 5, 6, and 7.
Okay.
And we referred to the first 2 years you used to be able to park on the road.
Oh, I remember this.
And the
Apparently
neighbors
neighbors
were not happy with
well.
me.
Yeah.
The first year, I didn't know it was going to be as crazy as it was. The second year, one of the neighbors allowed me to use a little bit of their property to park some cars. And I thought, oh, that'll solve the problem. Why don't we park like 15 cars?
Yeah.
So the neighbors were livid with me. They did a behind my back petition to close it down. They went to St. Louis County, and St. Louis County contacts me. They were fantastic, I'll tell you that. They were just so professional about handling that with me. And they said, let's come up with some type of a plan.
Yeah.
And 2 other neighbors came forward that had horse fields, and they said, you can park your cars here. So I reached out to Cloquet Transit, and I hired 9 72-passenger school buses, and we would run those from our main lot, was called our Rudolph lot on the corner of Highway 33 and Morris Thomas. Cars would park there, and then we had our overflow lot. It was our Frosty lot, and that was right on Crosby Road, and we would just run these buses. I gave all the neighbors, sent them a letter after there was a township meeting, and the county was there and calmed everybody down. And we put a ticket in the rearview mirror that said they lived on the road, and I posted somebody at the end of the road so no one could go down the road unless they lived on the road.
Yeah.
And our buses just dropped people off at my driveway, went down to the end of the road, turned around and went back, and it was just a constant circle every night. But after 2 years of doing that, we were transporting 72,000 people by bus, and we thought it was getting a little carried away. And at that same time, I had just bought my building up in Hermantown. We were building a cabin up in Grand Rapids, and we thought it was getting carried away. So we took that year off, which was 2008.
Oh.
And at that time, one of your predecessors,
Yeah.
Don Ness, reached out to me. And I went to his office, looked out his window, and he asked me if I'd bring the lights there. I had never stepped foot in Bayfront Park before.
Oh, wow.
And I said yes to it. And I remember walking out of his office thinking, I don't know what Bayfront Park is. I didn't know the magnitude of that park. It's huge.
Yeah.
It's a huge park.
Yeah.
And I called my next door neighbor. He was my first phone call, who does Santa Claus for me back at my house. And I said, Tom, I'm going to Bayfront. You coming with? Yep. And then I called up the other people that were closely involved with my lights at my house. And I said, I'm going to Bayfront. You coming with? And they said, sure will. And for the next year, we planned on the power situation down there, and how do we have portable buildings, and how do we do all the things that we needed to do. So it was a year in planning, and then in 2009 we turned the lights on for the first time down there, and people embraced it. The community came out. And then the second year we were down there, I thought we needed a big centerpiece, and that's where the tree came into play.
Okay.
I had a friend over at Kreco Jard Architectural Engineering, and reached out to him, and I said, I want to have something big. And he says, well, how big is this tree? I said, I don't know. We're just on the phone. 120 feet. I literally pulled that out of my rear end. And they did up all the drawings for it. And then I thought, well, how am I going to build this thing?
Right.
So someone suggested to contact the local iron workers,
Yeah.
a training center up on Highway 2 and Midway Road. I made a call up there. He says, yeah, bring it up. bring up what you got. But he thought I said 12 feet on the phone, not 120 feet. So I get up there and I got these blueprints. And he said, we better go into the conference room. So we brought some guys in there and they took it under the wing and we raised the money to build the tree and the materials, and they donated all their services to build it, weld it, and continue on with putting it up, putting it down, and maintaining it for us. They check all the welds on it, make sure it's completely safe every year for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to dig into Bayfront a little bit, but before we leave your house, I remember well the first time going up and we parked on the road. Then the next year, no parking signs, all
both sides, every 10 feet.
You could not miss.
I was in shock when I came home one day in St. Louis County. There was no possible way you could park on that road.
Like, wow, his neighbors must not like this. So then it was the bus and the shuttle. I didn't realize that it was kind of a shorter window before things moved to Bayfront.
4 years.
So what did your family say though when you decided to like pave a path through your yard? Because that's what I get there the first time and I'm like, wow, this isn't just about lights. Like there's a paved path going through the yard with the s'more and the fire pits, all the elements that are still there and have grown.
Just a little larger, but yeah.
I'm like, did people just know you and they're just like, okay, that makes sense? Or
no one knew my name back then.
Yeah.
I was just some guy out there. Then they probably, I don't know what they thought of me. But I know when I first went to Bayfront, they had already created stories about me. They thought I was a car salesman. They thought I worked for Minnesota Power. They had already determined where I worked and what I was. And then some people honestly would come up to me, and I'm not making this up, asking me if Mr. Bentley was still alive.
Oh, interesting.
Because they thought, I don't know what they thought, and I would cover my name on my jacket.
And say no.
And
he was a lovely man.
When people come up to me, even at Bayfront, I always try to cover, because it says Mayor Bentley on my jacket, I try to cover it up because people are more honest. If they don't know who you're talking to, they're going to really tell how they feel. Yeah. So it was fun to hearing these stories about myself that they had created.
Interesting.
It's amazing what people have come up with.
So, I mean, you've got to be approaching the point of where there's, a book about the evolution of Bentleyville, and you get to collect these stories and sign it as mayor of Bentleyville.
Well, not quite yet to a book, but I've certainly signed Christmas bulbs down there and just joking with people. Let's sign this for some people.
So what year are we on in overall?
We're 22 years. Okay. We're celebrating our 22 years when we turn the lights on the 22nd, and it's our 17th year at Bayfront Park.
Okay, so year 25 is when we'll see the book.
You've got somebody that's going to help write this? You
got the story. It's like, I think we could. So far, what I've learned in this conversation, Nathan, is like people are attracted to the ideas, and they bring you ideas. So.
But see, a lot of times people have big ideas and they never execute them. If you tell me something, we're going to execute it. Yeah. As crazy as it might be, we're going to do it.
Aspirational versus actually doing.
When somebody says, have Santa Claus skydive into Bayfront, let's do it.
Yeah. So tell me some of the key facts about Bentleyville. Largest? We
have the largest man-made Christmas tree in the United States.
Okay.
It's 128 feet tall, weighs 17 tons. And now with the new technology we put on it last year, that tree literally can change millions of colors, has graphics on it, and it's truly the centerpiece, I feel, for the city of Duluth for these 2 months that we're open.
The most photographed, the most online thing. I have to note, so Veterans Day was, we're recording this on a Friday. Veterans Day was on Tuesday. A day that's meaningful to me, a day that you and your folks really support as well. And without, I think, intent, the tree was lit. I mean, intent on your part, the tree was lit green for Veterans Day.
St. Louis County had asked us, actually, we had it lit for a week up to Veterans Day at their request, second year in a row, and I think it looked beautiful.
And we had done Anger Tower in the past, and this year we did the aerial lift bridge in green as well. And somebody on social media had a ship coming through, and they talked about how cool it was during Operation Green Light for Veterans. And I told our team, I'm like, oh, we got to run with this. This is a thing. But it was really the bridge with the tree and with anger. And, so sometimes there's the unintended, everybody just kind of rowing in the same direction. And then, the public sees something created And I thought it was really neat. So I think Operation Greenlight on Veterans Day is going to be a thing now as we move forward.
It is so cool that that tree, which of course was never really, I mean, the aerial lift bridge is there and the tree is there. And when you talk about photographs, it's just incredible. All the photographs with one of the most iconic things in the world, that bridge, and then the tree.
I mean, it
It's
literally
cool.
cannot be recreated anywhere else in
no.
America. So tallest tree in North, tallest man-made tree. I mean, is there a fake tree that's taller or a real tree that's taller? I mean,
I'm sure there's redwood trees in California.
But decorated for,
No.
arguably the tallest Christmas tree in North America.
Rockefeller Center's got nothing on Duluth.
Yeah, right. How about I think also the largest free light display?
We're the largest free walk-through light display in the United States.
Okay.
There are larger light displays out there, but not picking on any of them, but so many of them charge
Sure.
$30 a carload, $12 a person.
Yeah.
I've literally seen $29 for an adult, and then it's like $15 a person.
Right.
That's pretty expensive.
Right.
We keep Bentleyville free, and as I've told our executive board of directors that oversees the whole operation, that as long as I'm at the helm, it's always going to remain free. That's the uniqueness of Bentleyville. You don't need a dollar to come down there. We appreciate people that put dollars in our donation boxes
Yeah.
because that's what helps it go on.
Right.
But it doesn't matter your income, doesn't matter anything. Everyone down there is treated the same way.
So talk a little bit about how you make that possible. I mean, there's cookies and there's hot chocolate, and obviously there's electricity, and each year you add new things. And so, I mean, if it's free, how does that happen?
We literally have nearly a $1 million budget, but a lot of that is services in kind, values of so many companies that provide services to us. But we have 5 main revenue sources: our parking, our donation boxes on the ground, sponsors, our gift shop, and our candy bar sale. And then periodically people will mail us a check because they appreciate everything that goes on, especially when they live up on the hillside and they get a free, beautiful view every single night.
I mean, I'm on the side. I look at the tree every night. I mean, it really is. I mean, just something you said earlier, right? The tree itself, as well as, I mean, it's fun seeing the park, seeing Bentleyville get built over time, because I'll be home, getting ready to end my day and see different parts on as things are tested. But also a ton of volunteers, right? I mean,
Our volunteers will make this happen. I get a lot of the credit for making it happen, but it's all these people behind the scenes. It's the thousands of volunteers that we have. There's certain volunteers that help with setup. There's certain volunteers that only want to volunteer when we're live, and then you kind of have a mixture of people that do live, setup, and tear down. But it's the volunteers that make this happen. And then we have our core group of what we call our red coats. There's about 35 of us. And then
if you see those folks ask questions, they have the answers.
They do. And then there's our executive board of directors that meets monthly and discusses the big picture, sets the budget, talks about our contracts that we have with various entities for different things, and it comes together. We work year round. Year round.
And you actually have
we have two full-time
employees.
We have 2 full-time people. We have our parks operation person. He's outside all summer long working on we have 17 semi-trailers, 14 40-foot containers. Things need to be maintained in our displays. So he works all year round with volunteers and federal prisoners that we get to help us get things ready. And then we have our event coordinator that is working year round, getting ready for the next season, working with our sponsors and our media material and everything we need to be ready for the next year.
Like, I always learn something new every year, and this year the new for me was the day that the federal prisoners volunteering and then our police officers worked together to push the big displays up. So they have to physically be lifted up and then use the stakes or the whatever to keep them up. But it is I know for our team, maybe the prisoners are in good shape, but it's a lot of manual labor.
It is. We literally have federal prisoners 7 days a week that help down at Bayfront, 5 days a week during off season, getting things ready, and they are just fantastic to work with down there. They're giving back to the community, making things happen.
That's got to be amazing for them.
It is.
To do something that is such a big community event. That's really gratifying and rewarding. A way of we've all done something in our lives we're not proud of, and sometimes there's bigger consequences for that. But here's an opportunity to re-engage with society and also to really do something meaningful for the community.
Absolutely.
So what are you, we'll get the details in, the lights go on November 22nd.
Day after the Christmas City of the North Parade.
Okay.
Santa Claus.
We're going to push a giant red button and hit everything to turn it on.
Something like that.
I'm lobbying for this, folks. I want to have Nathan and I go boom and like everything.
You're going to make it down there then? Help us turn all the lights on?
Heck yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. But November 22nd.
Yep. Saturday, Santa Claus is going to skydive. Santa Claus is not skydiving in. Santa Claus is coming in by helicopter with his bride, Mrs. Claus.
Okay.
And they'll land approximately 4:55, 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And then once the helicopter's taken off, we're going to do a big countdown with all the crowd and yourself there, and we're going to get all the lights on for the 22nd year of Bentleyville.
And if you've not been there for opening, this is a thing. Like, highly, highly recommend.
And we do the same thing not pretty much, every single night. Opening night, of course, is spectacular. It's the first night of the season. But every night we do a countdown at 5 o'clock. Everything pops on at one time, and it's fun to be there for that.
And then runs until?
We run until Saturday, December 27th.
Yeah.
And that's a Saturday night, so we'll be open until 10 o'clock that night. And there's fireworks that night as well.
The last night.
And our
Also,
fireworks are at 5:30 on our final night on the 27th.
another neat night to go down. Of course, if you are in Duluth or nearby, you probably go multiple times, as we do. But the fireworks at the end is also a really neat thing. I remember last year, everybody kind of crowding into the center area at Bayfront,
Yep.
and it was just a beautiful evening. What are you most excited about this year with Bentleyville? Like, what do you find? How do you find motivation each year? And then what are you most excited about this year?
My motivation is the friends that I've had down there. When I was in high school and stuff, I had one or two good friends, but I have a lot of adult friends down there, and that's what motivates me to go down there every single day. Is I love bantering back and forth with the people that are involved down there, and them throwing out ideas, and sometimes friendly little arguments about where those soldiers are going, or should we really put those wreaths on that castle, or where should we put them? It's fun to go back and forth with people, and I enjoy that part of it.
If you go down, and volunteers are always welcome during setup. If you go down, Nathan will be there.
I am there every single day.
And there will be donuts. So
there's donuts. We feed everybody at lunchtime during setup.
Yeah.
And now we're looking for volunteers for when we go live. People go to our website, bentleyvilleusa.org. They can sign up for when we're live. And we need people for teardown. We need people for teardown.
Help during for just helping with the crowds, helping with the characters.
Cookie house, popcorn, fire pits, greeters, all those things. We need 60 people to be fully functional every night. Every night.
Yeah, no matter the weather.
Yeah.
And then teardown is what period?
We're going to start the day after, which is Sunday, December 28th, and we work every single day until we're out of there.
Okay.
So if the weather's cooperative, which it has been, and I think that's in our city contract, that you have to have good weather for us for teardown.
It's clause G.
So if we've got great weather, we get out of there hopefully in a couple of weeks. Yeah. If we've got lots of snow, it takes longer.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, we are coming to the end of this conversation, and we always end, as viewers know, with some questions for our guests. So, Nathan, what is your go-to restaurant in Duluth?
I find myself a lot at Grandma's on top of the hill.
Oh.
I find myself there a lot.
Proximity? Favorite hamburger?
Actually, it's usually...
Tony Bronson?
I'm saving up my points. If you go to Grandma's, you get these points.
Yeah.
So I've been saving them up. And people say, well, what do you say? I'm going to buy the restaurant is what I tell them.
Oh.
Because I've saved up quite a few points there.
All right.
It's the Cajun chicken over wild rice. It's probably that and the Cobb salad. Between those two, I don't need a menu.
I like those places where like, I don't need a menu. Or better yet, you come in and they're like, is it going to be this is me at Uncle Louie's. Are you going to have the scrambled eggs with the Euro meat on the side and a pancake? Yes.
Do you need a menu? Do you need a menu?
I don't need a menu because I can't see it anyway. So are you a donuts or an ice cream person?
I would go with the ice cream.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Well, when you speak of donuts, are we talking the round donuts, or are we talking like one
not
of those
cake
big
donuts, like donuts, like filled with stuff. Like
I like filled long johns as long as it's got the cream inside those. Yeah, I can do that.
Well, if it's ice cream, where's your go-to?
It's going to be any strawberry. I love strawberry ice cream.
Is there a place? Are you?
No, I do ice cream anywhere.
Okay.
I'm not
Equal opportunity.
Equal opportunity.
I'm with you. Like
I like ice cream.
There's no ice cream I don't like, but there's also no donut I don't like. So my staff knows sugar. Sugar is my downfall. So, okay, aside from Bentleyville, your favorite annual Duluth event?
Favorite, I would say Grandma's Marathon. My company is extremely heavily involved in Grandma, so I'm down there from the Wednesday before Grandma starts, getting things ready at the deck, to that final final night there, Saturday night, when things are wrapping up. And I love Grandma's Marathon.
Same. I know there are some people who get out of town, but I'm like,
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't even mean that sarcastically. It's a great event. Yeah, there's little traffic issues. Well, there's little traffic issues with any event.
but you get to be in the middle of this
You
amazing
do.
thing that puts Duluth on the map, as does Bentleyville. Visit with, I'll never forget the first time I was standing in line with my little sister to see Santa. And I think it had been at Bayfront maybe the first or second year. And I'm talking to these folks, and they were from Owatonna, which is in the southeastern part of the state. And I'm like, you drove up for this? Oh, yeah. And we're staying all weekend. I was like, this is a thing.
But you know, I say Grandma's, but there's every event here in Duluth is wonderful. Whether it's the air show,
Yeah.
the bear grease. I know I'm going to leave out events, but
Yeah.
every event at Bayfront is fantastic.
Yeah.
Draws different crowds, different personalities and stuff. Duluth has fantastic events that go
They
on.
bring people to our community.
They do.
They help put Duluth on the map. They give us name recognition. Some of those folks stay and become residents and become employees. They spend money. I'm with you. Okay, so your favorite view in Duluth?
Probably from Inger Tower, the rocks, not necessarily up the tower, but if you just stand on those rocks and you can see the overview of the that whole area.
So is that where the mayor of Bentleyville goes to survey his kingdom? Because that would be one of the best views.
You know, honestly, because I'm at Bentleyville every single night, I only leave once a year. I leave the park to go up Masaba Avenue so I can come back down and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I usually probably only see it one time a year. Otherwise, I'm in the middle of it every single night.
Yeah, this is a guy that is going to be there working. And I will say, you know, to your credit, Nathan, like when I see you down there, you are hustling, you're doing something. Like,
Carrying garbage cans.
Working as hard as any other volunteer that's there.
I'm there.
So,
I love it.
Leading from the front, as we like to say. Where do you take visitors when they come to Duluth?
When they come to Duluth, probably Inger Tower. I brought people to Glensheen Mansion.
Okay.
Of course, Canal Park is a great place to bring them. The North Shore, when I've got relatives from Florida, they like to go up the North Shore and skip rocks in the lake. So
Not to the Nathan Bentley boyhood home in the Central Hillside?
no, but I have drove the federal prisoners by my home several times to tell them my childhood story, where I delivered newspapers and hopped on my wagon and went down the hills in the Central Hillside.
That's actually probably really helpful to see, for them to see somebody who's been successful and to know that started from humble beginnings in the hillside, something that they can relate to.
Very humbling hillside home.
Well, Nathan Bentley, thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
time to learn a little bit about you, the story of your business, the story everybody likes to hear about Bentleyville, taking time out of a super busy period for you as we're days away from opening up Bentleyville. Remember, folks, there are opportunities for you to help during Bentleyville, especially to help during Takedown. And it's
Please.
never too early to say help set up for next year.
We need people
And
next year,
We always
too.
need volunteers.
Yeah.
There's lunch and donuts waiting for you. And a special thanks to PACT TV for making their space here on the third floor of City Hall available for these conversations. I always learn a ton, even from people that I already know. So thanks for watching with us, and stay tuned for the next conversation that we have.